Hello everyone. This week we are reviewing a book titled The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. The book tries to establish the importance of teamwork and, more importantly, in a world of high tech with a lot of pressure, what are the possible dysfunctions a team could encounter and how do you come out of it. The author of a book is Patrick Lencioni. He's written other books with similar titles like Five Temptations of a CEO and Four Obsessions of an Extraordinary Executive, etc., which talk about similar corporate work culture and what are the problems that one would face there. Moving on to the summary of the book, the Uber concept that the author tries to explain in this book can be explained in a couple of essays actually. But for the sake of the book, the author is trying to expand it, inculcate these principles in the form of a story which happens in a startup. The story revolves around a tech startup which is in chaos and they're not able to garner business. The numbers are going down and it is being taken over by a CEO who comes from a very traditional manufacturing background. And the book unravels the challenges that the CEO faces in rallying the entire team towards a common goal. She faces challenges in the form of team members not bonding with one another, the leadership not in cohesion, they're abusing each other and not believing in each other's capabilities in achieving the larger goal of delivering the results. So the new CEO tries to explain these fundamental principles of the five dysfunctions that a team could encounter in an offsite to the team and tries to rally around the team. Now, what are the five principles or dysfunctions that the author is talking about? He talks about trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and results. First one, the trust. The absence of trust is defined as the unwillingness of your team members to not expose their vulnerabilities to the rest of the team members. It's a very big ask for somebody to expose the vulnerability to a team member, but the author says that unless an environment is set in such a way that somebody is not ready to expose their vulnerabilities, then the feeling of trust or mutual trust will not be set within the team. And everybody would want to work in secrecy and nobody wants to reveal their true picture character they won't believe the other person as well who is working alongside you. The moment there is a lack of trust, the second dysfunction comes in place, which is the team is not able to engage in a unfiltered or passionate debate with respect to idea sharing, wherein conflicts will ensue. But because there is no trust, etc., the person would not want to engage in a conflicting situation. He would keep it to himself, whatever ideas, thought process that comes to him or her, and hence all of these conversations would become veiled discussions or guarded comments, which is not very good in a tech startup which is trying to grow. Now, because of this, what happens is without each of the team members not confiding in one another and not discussing or debating it out and not airing their opinions out in an open forum, the team members will not buy into the idea that is being discussed about. They would be at the shore and not delve actually into the idea that is being discussed about, because they are not comfortable in sharing their opinions or any critical comments about it, and hence getting a buy-in for such kind of a thing and getting a consensus in a meeting will be a Herculean task. Or they would just commit it for the sake of committing it without really actually pooling in their funds in the scheme of things. Now, what happens because of this is that without a clear commitment to an action plan by each of the team members, you cannot hold one another accountable for the deliverables, because you did not commit, you do not know what is going to happen from the other party. And you don't have any leverage to even question them as to why the deliverable was not delivered on time and why there is a miss in the commitment. The people hesitate to call on their peers for behaviors which are clearly counterproductive to the overarching goal, again because they have taken a step back. They are not really invested in the larger org goal, and hence they don't really care about if there are any actions / steps taken by other team members which is against the larger goal that we want to achieve. Because of this, the team is fully engaged in activities which help in the welfare of their own and not in the larger goal of the team, right? Because it is very, very evident there is no commitment for a larger buy-in and you can't question the other party. Hence, you just ensure that you take care of your own well-being within the org and your growth, etc., and not be worried about the larger results that is happening within the company. So, these are the 5 dysfunctions, which are trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and finally the results. If you see, all of them are like a chain. Even when I just described to you, you would have realized that all of them are linked to one another. So even if one of them breaks, the whole chain breaks, and it's very important all of them work together in unison. See, the counter way to look at it is, if a team has all of these in place, you would have a situation where everybody would trust one another and have very organic, unfiltered debates with one another, and hence they know that because they are convinced by the debate and discussion, they commit to whatever is the larger goal. Once commitment is there, you can hold each other accountable because you know you are going to deliver the result, and hence confidently question the other person, and finally focus on the larger business goal. Of course, you will benefit by the individual performance improvement, etc., but the ultimate aim is the larger business goal that you would be able to deliver if you do all of these things. The problem with the teamwork and these dysfunctions is that it looks very, very straightforward and simple. Whatever points we just spoke about is known to everybody. Most of us have worked in big corporations and we know these are things that one should do. But still we see situations where teamwork fails a lot in such companies. It's primarily because the implementation of these principles in real life work experience requires a lot of discipline and persistence, which is what we generally don't find, and that's what the author calls out as well. And he gives you very simple tricks and techniques that you could employ to build such kind of things. What are those? So starting with trust. To build trust within a team, he talks about having a situation where you share personal histories amongst your team members, talk about what each person contributes to your team. You request every other team member to talk about a particular person, what he contributes to the team, etc., and have a MBTI kind of a survey where you understand the nature of a person, or 360-degree feedback, etc. All of these things will help you build a culture of trust within your team members, because everybody gets to know the other person much better, and you are sharing in some form or shape your vulnerabilities as well. Second point is on conflict. In conflict, there could be teams where not everybody is very open and honest about giving a feedback or discussing a topic very openly, etc. So there is this fund of mining, wherein the leader pitches in certain thought process ideas and then forces people to talk about it, etc. You mine the inputs from your fellow team members, and also in a debate, discussion, etc., encourage people to have conflicting opinions and all of them. Maybe throw in a conflicting thought process, seek feedback from fellow team members, etc. And very importantly, the leader should ensure that he does not safeguard team members who are being questioned by other team members, right? The moment you do that, the other person does not open his mouth, or he waits for you to come and help him out every other situation, which is not something which is very good. Moving on to commitment. In terms of commitment, in order for you to garner the right commitment from your team members, it's very essential that the leadership passes on clear messaging about what we want to do, what are the key tenets or problem statements that we're trying to solve, etc. Clear messaging, as well as deadlines have to be sought from the teams which are working with one another. That should help generate commitment, is the thought. On accountability, of course, we do a lot of this in our work already. He talks about publication of your goals and rigorous progress reviews throughout the year, and rewards basis the performance in against your goals, thereby generate accountability. Last is results attention. He talks about public declaration of results, as in when you deliver results, talk about it, send it across to your wider organization, and also meritocracy basis results that are being delivered. That will ensure that everybody is focused on delivering results as a line item for the larger benefit of the organization. That brings us to the end of the book. What are the key takeaways from the book? A very important point is the author emphasizes is on trust and candor. They are a cornerstone of any relationship, not just in teamwork. Trust and candor are important points in any relationship, and it is no less different in a teamwork as well. It forms the pivot of the entire discussion in the book. Second point is, rather than waiting for year-end performance reviews, understanding the progress against our goals, etc., holding one another accountable for commitments throughout the year helps deliver better results. The third key point is these 5 principles that we've discussed in the book is not just for teamwork in a corporate structure. It could very well work in a family setting with parents and children working together and run a well-oiled and happy family by building trust, resolving conflicts, and committing to certain deliverables from each of the role players within the family. With that, we come to the end of this week's review. I'll catch up with you with another interesting book the next week. Thank you.